Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. There is one thing that got branded via social media, I think, and has really been a thing and has been a benefit to LSU. And it's the moniker of DBU. Now, this is not all Twitter. Like Corey Webster and them came up with that back a little before Twitter. But that's where things kind of grow. Young people are on Twitter, and when I'm talking about young people, I'm talking about recruitable athletes. And when you can brand yourself as DBU and continue to pull in elite level recruits and send them to the NFL and have them on the national stage on Saturdays and Sundays and then brag about it on Twitter, people pay attention. They notice, and it matters. And it hurt when Corey Raymond moved on because he was so instrumental in a lot of that. But LSU still carries that moniker. And we hear it a lot in recruiting. But we heard it again yesterday from a place that I didn't realize that we were going to hear it. I had no idea that Deuce Chestnut had an affinity for LSU. Of course, he came here from Syracuse, but he's a guy from the East Coast that all of a sudden shows up, and he's now playing at LSU. And he said yesterday, it's his dream.
I mean, LSU is DBU. Everybody knows that. Any school that says they're DBU just is trying to be a part of the conversation. LSU has always been DBU. I kind of watched guys like Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu growing up, so LSU's been my dream school since a child. Everybody know I wanted to go to LSU coming out of high school. Obviously, things ain't go that way, but, you know, God plans and able to get me here, and I'm just grateful for it.
I had no idea. Everybody knew I wanted to go to LSU to high school. It didn't work out. Well, he goes to Syracuse and plays really well for a couple of years, and here he is, and he's not alone as transfers in. Major Burns transferred in. Greg Brooks transferred in. Denver Harris transferred in. Zy Alexander transferred in. Like, you've got your Sage Ryan, your Terrence Welch, but a lot of guys transferred in, and it's difficult sometimes to create leadership when you've got so many transfers and things turn over as violently as they have at LSU the last 2 years. But while I would say that Major Burns is the leader of the LSU defense and leader of the secondary, Deuce Chestnut said he's taking on a leadership role too.
Helping each other out. No, I'm not the only corner in the room, and I know how I can get losing a corner. You know how we lost Garrett Williams last year in Syracuse, and somebody needs to step up. So I know how we need the whole room, not just the first two corners to be great. We need everybody to be great. So just knowing the game and trying to teach the younger guys that so they can be more confident and play faster out there.
If they can figure it out in the secondary, LSU can be really good. I think if LSU figures it out in the secondary, they can achieve anything they want. I really do. I don't think it's quite that simple. They're not the only variable, but they're one of the biggest ones. And so Deuce Chestnut's going to have to play a huge role in that. He's listed at 5'11", 205. He looks like a smaller corner, but he spoke about that yesterday, saying, you know, he realizes that he's got to do some other things.
Just my IQ on the field, just knowing, like I said before, the concepts, knowing how the offense works and stuff like that, being more experienced and playing more football, just knowing more in the game. So I think that helped me a lot, just knowing a lot of football, basically.
He's found himself around the football for a couple of years at Syracuse. Like, he's made a lot of interceptions as a freshman, had a lot of pass breakups last year. And I saw a play on Saturday when I was out at practice where he got beat. Brian Thomas beat him. And the throw was just a little underthrown. If it's a quality throw, it's going to be a big play. The ball was just underthrown. And Chestnut closed just quickly enough and got his hand right to the catch point and knocked it away. And that's not a perfect play by a DB because you got beat a little bit. But he used his instincts and his hands and his ball skills to knock a ball away. And I think there's something to the fact that he fancies himself as a heady player, as a guy who studies film, as a guy who understands football and knows where to be, because he doesn't look like Patrick Peterson. He doesn't look like Derek Stingley. He doesn't look like Thorold Simon or Corey Webster. He's smaller than them, but he's got some really positive attributes that are going to need to shine through this year. Now, the other part that really helps you out as a corner is to work against one of the best receiver rooms in the country every single day.
Very talented. You got guys that got versatility all across the board. You got different kind of guys. You got speed burners, you got route runners, and you got guys that can go up and get the ball. So every day you got to compete and work. If you're not competing, you're going to get embarrassed out there, basically. So every day you got to compete, and they're going to give you good work.
I liked the interview that Deuce Chestnut did yesterday. I thought it was insightful, and he's going to have to be a big piece to LSU's defense this coming season. We'll transition now to Brian Kelly's comments earlier today after practice. If you missed the top of the show, Denver Harris is handling a personal issue. Kelly hopes that he's back this weekend. Mason Smith has just been banged up, had a little bit of a sprained ankle, had to come out of practice briefly today. Nothing significant, but he just continues to be a little bit banged up out there at practice. I want to talk about the offensive line, and Kelly talked about the offensive line. Yesterday, if you're listening to the show, I gave you my 3 most indispensable pieces to LSU's roster this coming football season. Not the best players on the team, the guys whose absence would create the most negative effect. And I had Jaden Daniels third, I had Harold Perkins second, and I had Will Campbell first. And what I told you was, I know that if Jaden Daniels comes out, which is not ideal, that Garrett Nussmeier is going to come in. And you'll probably take away a little quarterback run. You probably add a little running back run, and you add a little bit of gunslinger mentality to the offense. But Garrett Nussmeier can play at this level. It's bad. It's not catastrophic. If Harold Perkins were to go down, you would lose his dynamic playmaking ability as far as creating turnovers and spying the quarterback and playing inside linebacker, but shifting down to rush the passer. But you'd still have Omar Spates in the middle and Greg Penn in the middle, who have been starting Power 5 linebackers, and you would still have Savion Jones, and you would still have Ovi Hufo, and you still have Braden Swinson, and guys who have played a lot and have some ability. It would be a step down, but I know what would happen. And I told you that I don't know what would happen if Will Campbell went down as far as how they would shuffle the offensive line, because you feel really good with Will Campbell, with Garrett Dellinger, with Charles Turner, with Miles Frazier, and with Emory Jones. That front 5 has started a lot of games, has worked together a lot over the last 2 years, and that's very quality. But what's after them? Kelly talked about that.
DJ Chesters is doing a really nice job at center. We've gotten a lot of work with him in the second group. We've moved Martinez over to guard. He's doing a nice job for us there. Hurd's playing at the right tackle. Bordelon's playing at the left tackle. I really like how they're coming along. That group in itself has done a really nice job as that, second unit, and giving us some confidence in the depth.
So if you hear that, I still don't have my answer as to what happens if Will Campbell were to go down. You hear him saying that Hurd's playing right tackle on the second team. You hear him saying that Bordelon is working at tackle as well. You didn't hear Mason Lunsford's name in there. He's played a lot of football as a guard for Maryland, but he's been out for a little bit, so he's not necessarily front of mind at this point. I don't know that Dellinger can go out and play guard. So it's either moving your right tackle and inserting a freshman at right tackle, or it's plugging a freshman in at left tackle if Campbell were to go down. I don't want to explore any of that. I'd like Will Campbell to be out there for a lot of snaps this coming fall. The question was asked to Kelly, or any of the second-team linemen he just mentioned, kind of pushing the guys for starting spots.
We'll see how things play out. We're really looking to see, who the 5 guys that we have out there right now, which you all know who they are, can somebody break into that top 5? And so these next few days, we'll take a closer look at it and see is there somebody that can break into that top 5. But that's kind of where it is right now.
I'll tell you this. I have had questions in the fall about LSU's offensive line dating back even to 2019. And we know the 2019 team won the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line in the country. But I could probably go back and pull some of my sound from 2019, coming on the morning show every Friday at 7:30. Said, man, I just don't know about that offensive line. And Sadiq Charles became a really nice player for him out at left tackle, and Cushenberry was really, really good in there at center, which I don't know if we could have forecasted that level of play. And I don't know if that offensive line was the best in the country. I know that the guy behind it masked a little bit of any deficiency that may have happened. I mean, I don't know that Austin Deculus was an All-American player at right tackle. He was good. But Joe, pre-snap, understood, and his guys won off the ball so often on the outside that the ball was out so quickly, or he could manipulate the pocket and keep his eyes downfield and make plays. And so, I don't know, but they played well, certainly. But I didn't feel super comfortable entering 2020, 2021, or 2022. And it reared its ugly head in 2022 in the opener because they couldn't block Jared Verse. I will tell you now, 2 weeks from kickoff, as I sit here in the middle of August, I feel really good about LSU's offensive line. I think they've got an excellent first five, and I feel very confident with a couple like Martinez going in there to play guard. I'm okay with that. I think Emory Jones is capable of playing in a pinch. Nobody's backup left tackle or right tackle is all world. That's not a real thing. You're always going to be a little bit on edge when you have to put a reserve in there on the offensive line. But as far as that goes, I feel about as good about it as you can. Lunsford, Bordelon's coming along. Brad Davis inherited a mess when he got here last year. At this point, or 2 years ago, at this point, he's got a solid stable of options at offensive line. I think that's a very, very good thing. So, hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.